For more than 10 long years, the alien girl named Lyra lived in a small metal room on Station E71, a lonely colony floating between two silent moons. Most people in the colony never spoke to her. Many pretended she did not exist. Some stared with pity, and a few whispered that she carried a curse. But Lyra never cared about the whispers. She only cared about one thing: walking again. She could not remember the last time she touched the ground with her bare feet. The memory was blurry, like an old dream fading away. Every day she rolled herself in a small wheelchair with rusted wheels and weak motors. The chair shook whenever she moved. Its battery failed often, and sometimes Lyra had to pull the wheels with her hands because the motors refused to work. Still, she smiled. She always smiled. Lyra believed that one day she would stand again. One day she would walk and maybe even run. Her people, however, didn't believe that. Not anymore. The alien doctors had given up many years ago. They told her mother, her legs will never work again. Her energy pathways are broken. Her body is too weak. Nothing can be done. After that, they stopped all treatment. They didn't even try to repair her old robotic wheelchair properly. They simply left her in the corner of the colony and said she should accept her fate. But Lyra never accepted it. Every night, she looked through a cracked window at the bright stars. She imagined herself walking under them, feeling warm sand under her feet and leaving footprints behind her. She imagined running fast with wind touching her hair and laughing loudly without pain. In the darkness of the colony, Lyra kept that dream alive. Her life changed the day a human engineer arrived. His name was Evan Hall, a tall man with calm blue eyes and a heavy toolkit hanging from his belt. He came from Earth to repair damaged power lines in the colony's lower section. He did not know that his visit would change someone's entire life. On his second day, Evan found Lyra near a broken elevator, her wheelchair stuck because the wheel had fallen off again. "Are you all right?" Evan asked gently. Lyra looked up, surprised. No one usually stopped to help her. Most people simply walked past, pretending not to see her. "I'm fine," she said softly. "This chair likes to fall apart." Evan kneels beside her, inspecting the broken wheel. He notices the damaged deep cracks, rusted bolts, old parts. "How long have you been using this?" he asked. 10 years, Lyra replied with a quiet smile. "Maybe more." Evan's eyebrows tightened. 10 years? The chair looked like it should have been thrown away a decade ago. He fixes the wheel temporarily using a small tool. When he tries to lift the chair slightly, he notices something unusual. Her legs are not completely lifeless. There is a tiny twitch, a faint reaction. He pauses. "Lyra, can you feel this?" he asks, gently tapping her knee. She hesitates, then nods slightly. A little, like a soft spark. Evan's heart beats faster. In his mind, a thought appears. If she can feel something, her nerves may still be alive. But the alien doctors had said her nervous system was dead. So why did she feel anything now? Evan continues fixing her chair quietly, but his mind keeps racing. Something is wrong. Something doesn't match the medical reports he had briefly scanned earlier for system access. When he finishes the repair, Lyra smiles gratefully. "Thank you," she says. "No one ever helps with my chair." Evan stands up slowly. "I'm sorry they don't. And, Lyra, can I ask something?" "Yes?" "Why did the doctors stop your treatment?" Lyra's smile fades. Her hands grip the wheelchair tightly. "They said I was born weak," she whispers. "They said I should not hope too much." Evan feels a sharp pain in his chest. Hope? A child had been told not to hope. Before he could speak again, an alien guard shouted from the corridor. "Human, leave that girl alone. She is restricted." Restricted? Why would a girl in a wheelchair be restricted? The guard walked away after glaring at him. Lyra lowered her eyes, embarrassed. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "They think I bring bad luck." Evan shakes his head. "Lyra, there is no such thing as bad luck. Only bad people who say such words." Her eyes widen. No one had ever spoken to her like that. Over the next few days, Evan cannot stop thinking about Lyra, her weak legs that still reacted, her old wheelchair that someone intentionally never repaired, her restricted area status. Something was wrong, very wrong. On the fourth day, Evan did something he wasn't allowed to do. He used his portable human scanner to secretly check her legs, and what he found shocked him. Her bones were fine. Her nerves were alive. Her muscles were only weakened. Not dead, but there was one more thing: energy scars, thin glowing lines on her skin, like someone had used a forbidden energy tool years ago. The pattern showed damage done intentionally, not by accident. Someone had hurt her on purpose. Why? Why would anyone want a child to stay paralyzed for 10 years? Evan felt anger building inside him, and fear, but above all, he felt a powerful decision rising inside him. He was going to help her walk again, no matter what it took. And that decision would change everything. Asterisk. Evan couldn't sleep that night. He kept seeing the faint spark in Lyra's leg. He kept remembering how the guard shouted at him. And he kept thinking about the energy scars, thin glowing marks that should never be on a child's body. Back in his small engineer's room, he sat on the metal floor with his scanner in his hands. The device kept repeating the same data: nerves active, muscle response low but present, potential mobility possible. Possible. That one word refused to leave his mind. He rubbed his forehead and exhaled. 10 years in a wheelchair, and she could have walked? How many people knew? How many lied? Right then, he made a silent promise. He would not ignore this. He would not walk away, even if the whole colony tried to stop him. The next morning, Lyra sat outside her room in her wheelchair, watching children play with floating hollow balls. She didn't join them. She never did. The others avoided her, staying far as if her weakness could infect them. But today, someone walked straight toward her. Evan. She looked up with a bright smile. "The human engineer returns." Evan smiled softly. "I came to check your chair." Lyra giggled. "It broke again, didn't it?" He nodded. "Yes, but I think the problem isn't the chair. It's the people who keep telling you lies." Her smile faded. Lies? Evan looked around to make sure no guard was nearby. Then he crouched down beside her. "Lyra, your legs can feel. They are not dead." Lyra blinked quickly, confused. "But the doctors said." "I know what they said," Evan interrupted gently. "But I checked again. Your nerves respond. Your bones are strong. Someone forced your muscles to stay weak." Her heartbeat quickened. "What do you mean?" Evan hesitated. This was dangerous. But she deserved the truth. "I think someone hurt you years ago," he whispered. "Not an accident. Someone used forbidden energy tools on you." Lyra covered her mouth, her small fingers trembling. She wasn't scared for herself. She was scared because she finally understood something. All these years, she wasn't broken. She was made to stay broken. Evan saw tears forming in her eyes. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Listen to me. Nothing is wrong with your spirit. Nothing is wrong with your body. You were never weak. They made you weak." She breathed shakily. Why would they do that?" Evan didn't have an answer yet, but he would find one. A dangerous observation. That afternoon, Evan visited the colony's repair bay. He wanted to examine old medical records, but he knew he couldn't ask directly. So he pretended to work on damaged machines. While scanning, he accidentally opened restricted files. And what he found turned his blood cold. 10 years ago, Lyra's scan showed normal energy flow, perfectly healthy legs, but the next scan dated only 2 days after her accident. showed sudden energy damage. No notes, no explanation. Just injuries. Worse, the file was marked classified, do not discuss with civilian family. Evan shut the screen fast. Someone was nearby. The colony commander walked past, his eyes cold. Human, the commander said. Don't touch. What is not yours? Evan forced a smile. Just fixing machines. The commander leaned closer. You were seen with the girl again. Evan froze. She is restricted, the commander hissed. Stay away. Why? Evan asked, voice steady. The commander looked annoyed. That girl carries an unstable energy core. She is dangerous. Her movement is forbidden. Dangerous? Evan almost laughed. Lyra could barely move a wheel, but the commander's next words made everything worse. If she ever walks again, it could awaken. Old power. Old power? What were they hiding? Before Evan could ask, the commander walked away. Lyra's hidden strength. Later that evening, Evan returned to Lyra. She was drawing little stars on her window with a dull stylus. I always wanted to walk outside, she whispered. Just once. Evan kneeled beside her. Lyra, if you could walk again, what's the first thing you would do? She smiled shyly, thinking. I would run, she said, as fast as I can. And I would not stop. I would feel the wind. I would feel the world. Evan felt something tighten inside his chest. This child deserved freedom, a real life, not a broken wheel and silent suffering. He made a decision. Lyra, he said softly, I want to build something for you, something better than this wheelchair. She blinked in surprise. A better chair? No, he said. Not a chair. Her breath caught. Her voice shook. You mean legs? Evan nodded. Lyra's single quotes, his heart felt like it would burst. For the first time in 10 years, she felt a new emotion rising inside her, hope. But it's dangerous, she whispered. They will stop you, Evan smiled boldly. Then they can try. The first secret step. At midnight, Evan sneaked into the engineering bay. He collected parts from old exosuits, abandoned armor frames, and unused robotics modules. He hid them in a bag and whispered to himself, these will become her legs. From that moment, Evan Hawley was no longer just an engineer. He was the first human in the colony's history to challenge an alien law, the one law that kept a child trapped. He didn't know the whole truth yet. He didn't know the danger. He didn't know the ancient power sleeping inside Lyra, but he knew one thing, she deserved to walk. And he would make it happen. Evan had rebuilt machines, repaired reactors, and fixed battle armor before. But he had never built a pair of legs for someone who hadn't walked in 10 years. Still, when he looked at Lyra's weak body and hopeful eyes, he knew one thing. Failure was not an option. His dangerous idea had already begun. And every second made it more dangerous. Evan's secret workshop late at night, long after most of the colony was asleep. Evan worked inside a small abandoned storage room he had discovered in the engineering wing. The place smelled like dust and forgotten tools. Old boxes covered the floor. Weak yellow lights flickered overhead. But for Evan, this room became a secret laboratory. He laid out the parts he had collected. Exosuit stabilizers, servo joints, microcore processors, old armor braces, neural connectors, and most important, a small human-built control module. He whispered to himself while fixing wires. These will need to sync with her energy pathways. If I get this wrong, it could hurt her. He paused, staring at the glowing energy patterns he saw in her scan. Earlier, the scars were not random. They were almost shaped. Like symbols, something ancient. But he pushed the thought aside. Right now his mission was simple. Build legs. Give hope. Change a life. Lyra's quiet waiting. Meanwhile, Lyra sat alone in her room, unable to sleep. She kept touching her legs softly, wondering, how will it feel to stand again? Will I be able to walk? Will it hurt? She didn't fear pain. Pain was something she lived with for years. What she feared was disappointment. What if she hoped too much? What if she failed to stand? But then she remembered Evan's smile, the way he said, "You deserve to walk, and I'll help you." Those words warmed her heart. For the first time, she felt like she wasn't alone. A small spark of hope grew. Bigger. The first test fails the next morning. Evan secretly brings the first prototype to the empty hangar where no guards patrol at that hour. Lyra follows him quietly, her old wheelchair squeaking as it moves. "Is that it?" she asks, eyes wide with awe. The prototype looked rough, thin metal frames, exposed wires, and glowing joints. It was not beautiful yet, but it was powerful. Evan nodded. "Yes, but it's only the base frame. We need to test the attachment." "Points," Lyra swallowed nervously. "Will it hurt?" Evan gives a reassuring smile. "I won't attach them yet. Just lining them up to check your size." He carefully lifts her legs and tries to place the prototype frame against them. At first, everything seems fine. But then crack, the left joint snaps. Lyra gasps. Evan curses under his breath. "It's okay," she says softly. "You can fix it." But he shakes his head. "No, this means the frame wasn't balanced for your energy flow." He scans her leg again. The device flickers strangely. Something is wrong. Her energy is shifting. Evan stares at the scanner in disbelief. "What?" "Your energy lines are changing shape." Lyra looks confused. "Is that bad?" He slowly lowers the device. "No, not bad. Just not normal." He didn't want to say it aloud, but her energy patterns looked like they were waking up. As if her body remembered how to move. As if her power, whatever it was, responded to his attempt to help. This was no normal disability. A warning from the shadows. Before they could continue the test, a faint sound echoed through the hangar. Footsteps. Evan froze. Lyra swallowed hard. A shadow moved behind the crates. Someone had followed them. "Stay behind me," Evan whispered, stepping forward. But it wasn't a guard. It was an old alien mechanic named Corinne, a man who had seen too much in his long life. He walked slowly with a cane made of scrap metal. "Human," Corinne said in a raspy voice. "You must stop." Evan frowned. "Stop what?" Corinne looked at Lyra, sadness filling his tired eyes. "You're trying to make her walk." He gestures to her chair. "You cannot, you must not." Evan stepped forward angrily. "Why? You all kept her in this wheelchair for 10 years. You let her suffer." Corinne closed his eyes. "Because if she walks, she might awaken something. That should stay asleep." Lyra's breath caught. Evan's jaw tightened. "What do you mean?" Corinne hesitated, then whispered. "Lyra was born with a rare core inside her, a star core. Our people once feared it, because it can change everything." He coughed harshly before continuing. "When she was a child, her power flared once. It scared the leaders. They decided she should never stand again." Lyra's hands shook violently. Her voice cracked. "They took my legs because they were scared?" Corinne nodded sadly. Evan clenched his fist. "Her power is hers, not theirs to control." Corinne placed a trembling hand on Evan's shoulder. "You're a good human. But if you continue this path, you will put yourself in danger. And her." Then he slowly limped back into the shadows, leaving them with more questions than answers. The dangerous decision. Lyra was breathing hard, eyes full of pain. They hurt me because of something I didn't choose." Evan knelt in front of her. "Listen to me. I don't care what they did. I don't care what they fear. I care about you." Her eyes filled with tears. "And I promise you," Evan continued softly, "I will never stop. Not until you walk." Lyra nodded slowly, wiping her cheeks. For the first time her voice carried strength. "Then I will help you." They looked at the broken prototype. It wasn't perfect, but it would be the beginning. Two people, alone against a secret that the whole colony wanted buried. And that is exactly when Evan realized. This was no longer just a repair project. This was a rebellion. Night fell on the colony with cold silence. Most lights were dim. Most doors were locked. Most people were asleep. But two hearts were awake, one in a rusted wheelchair, and one carrying a heavy toolkit filled with forbidden streams. Evan and Lyra moved quietly through the empty hallway, heading toward the same abandoned hangar where they had tested the broken prototype earlier. The air felt colder tonight. Shadows seemed longer. Even Lyra's old wheelchair squeaked less, as if it too understood that silence was needed. Lyra whispered, "Is this safe?" Evan didn't lie. "No, but we're running out of time. Someone already noticed our first test." Lyra nodded. Her hands shook, but her eyes didn't. She had spent 10 years in a wheelchair. Fear was not new to her, but hope was. And she held onto it with both hands. The hangar in darkness. When they entered the hangar, it was completely dark. Only the soft moonlight from a high window lit the huge, empty floor. Evan set down his toolkit and uncovered something. Wrapped in cloth. Lyra's breath caught. It wasn't the old prototype anymore. It was new, complete, smooth, powerful. A pair of robotic legs, lightweight metal, glowing joints, soft neural pads, and a faint teal energy flowing along the sides like living streams. Lyra whispered, "Those for me?" Evan smiled. "Yes, version 2, stronger, faster, safer." Her eyes filled with awe. "How long did this take?" 3 days, no sleep." He laughed softly. "Totally worth it." Lyra bit her lip. "Evan, thank you." He shook his head. "Don't thank me yet. We still need to test them, and tonight, we attach them." Lyra's heart thumped. "Attach them? Tonight?" She swallowed hard. "I'm ready." Preparing the experiment, Evan rolled a thick mat onto the floor. "Lie down," he said gently. "This part might feel strange." Lyra moved from her chair onto the mat, her weak legs trembling uselessly as she tried to lower herself. Evan helped her carefully. He then brought over the robotic legs and placed them beside her own. The metal limbs were almost the same size as her real ones, but stronger, sleek, and humming with quiet power. Evan took a deep breath. "Okay, I'm activating the neural connectors." He placed a circular device on the floor. It projected a glowing blue circle around Lyra's body. The air inside the circle felt warm. Lyra gasped softly. "It feels like something waking up inside me." Evan nodded. "That's your energy core reacting." Her eyes widened. "Does that mean it's dangerous?" Evan hesitated. "I don't know, but your body is responding. That means the legs might actually work." Lyra closed her eyes and whispered, "Please, let them work." The attachment. Evan began the attachment procedure slowly, carefully positioning the robotic legs against her own. Small metal clamps extended, aligning themselves with her bones. "Does it hurt?" Evan asked. "Not yet." He tapped a button on his wrist device. Click, the first clamp locked into her thigh. Lyra winced. "Ah!" Evan froze. "Too much pain?" She shook her head. "It's okay, continue." He tapped again. Click, the second clamp activated. Robotic legs glowed brighter, syncing with her energy. The teal light pulsed like a heartbeat. Evan whispered, "I need to start the full connection now. Once I do, there's no turning back." Lyra gave a shaky smile. "I've already waited 10 years. Start it." Evan pressed the main switch. A surge of light exploded inside the circle. Blue, teal, and gold strands of energy danced across Lyra's body. Her back arched. Her hands clenched. Her breath caught in her throat. "Lyra!" Evan shouted. "Talk to me." "Can you still hear me?" She gasped. "It's so much energy." The robotic legs fused with her body, their metal becoming warm as her core awakened. Then, boom! A wave of force blasted outward. The hangar lights flickered violently. Evan fell backward onto the floor, shielding his face from the energy flash. When the light faded, everything turned silent. Too silent. The first movement Evan slowly pushed himself up and looked at Lyra. She lay still, eyes closed, chest rising and falling quickly. But the legs were glowing softly, not with mechanical light. With her light, Lyra? Evan whispered. Her eyes opened, and Evan saw something he had never seen before. Not fear, not pain. Power. She lifted her head slowly. Evan, I can feel them. His heart skipped. You mean, I can feel the legs? They're connected. She moved her toes. The robotic toes obeyed. She bent her knee. The robotic knee bent perfectly. Evan's throat tightened. Every long night, every risk, every fear, it was all worth it. She wasn't just reacting. She was controlling them. Okay, Evan whispered, trembling. Now try to sit up. Lyra pushed her hands against the floor. Her arms shook. Her core trembled. The robotic legs helped, locking in place, supporting her weight. Slowly, carefully. Lyra sat for the first time in years without using her wheelchair. Tears streamed down her cheeks. I'm sitting by myself. Evan felt tears burn his eyes too. You're stronger than you know. The stand. Evan moved in front of her, offering his hands. Lyra, do you want to try standing? Her breath trembled. Her fingers shook. But she nodded. Yes. Evan held both her hands tightly. Lyra took a deep breath. The robotic joints glowed. Her weak muscles tensed. Her energy core, hummed. Slowly, she began to rise. Her legs extended. Her back straightened. Her feet touched the floor. Then for the first time in 10 years, Lyra stood. She cried openly, laughing and sobbing at the same time. I'm standing. Evan, I'm standing. Evan was speechless. The girl who had been trapped in a wheelchair for a decade was standing tall, trembling, glowing softly with her own power. But before they could celebrate, the hangar doors slammed open. Bright lights flooded the room. A cold voice echoed through the shadows. Stop right there. Lyra froze. Evan turned slowly. 4 armed alien guards stepped inside, weapons glowing, and behind them stood the colony commander. His face full of fury. You awakened her core, he shouted. You have no idea what you've done. The night experiment wasn't just dangerous. It was forbidden. And now they were caught. Bright white lights blasted across the hangar. Lyra froze mid-step. Her newly awakened legs trembled, glowing softly like 2 pieces of living metal. Evan stood protectively in front of her as 4 armed alien guards rushed in. Their weapons hummed with cold, sharp energy. Behind them entered the colony commander, tall, armored, and furious. His eyes burned with rage when he saw Lyra standing. You fool, the commander hissed at Evan. You awakened the core we spent 10 years trying to contain. Lyra flinched. Her robotic legs tightened instinctively, responding to her fear. Evan stepped forward. You all lied to her, he said, his voice shaking with anger. You made a child believe she was broken. The commander snapped back. We kept her still because movement awakens the star pulse inside her. If she loses control, this entire station could be destroyed. Lyra gasped. I would never hurt anyone. The commander's voice thundered. Your body chooses. Not you. Lyra's hands trembled. She didn't understand what was happening inside her. But she knew one thing: she didn't want to go back to the wheelchair. Never again. The threat. The guards raised their weapons. Step away from the girl. One of them ordered Evan. Evan stood his ground. No. One guard clicked his weapon. To full power. Human. The commander growled. You will be removed from this colony for your crime. Crime? Helping a child walk was a crime? Evan tightened his fists. Then remove me. but she stays standing. Lyra whispered, voice shaking, "Evan, they will hurt you." He didn't look back. "I'm not afraid." The commander lifted his hand, "Take the human, and sedate the girl before her core reacts again." 2 guards moved toward Evan. Another moved toward Lyra with a syringe filled with shimmering liquid. Lyra's heart raced. Her legs glowed brighter. "I don't want to sleep," she whispered. "I don't want to be locked again." The robotic limbs sensed her rising panic. The teal lights pulsed faster. The hangar floor vibrated. A low hum filled the air. The guard hesitated. "What is that sound?" The commander's eyes widened. "Her core. It's activating." The awakening Lyra grabbed Evan's arm, terrified. "I don't know how to stop it." Evan squeezed her hand. "Then focus on something safe. Focus. On me, on your first step. On hope." She nodded rapidly, trying to breathe slowly. The sound grew louder like a heartbeat made of light. The air shimmered around her. The commander shouted, "Stop her before the core reaches stage 2. A guard lunged toward Lyra, and that was the moment her energy reacted, not violently, not dangerously, but powerfully. A wave of teal light burst out from her legs, spreading across the floor like a glowing ripple. The guard was pushed back, not harmed, but gently thrown away like a leaf caught in soft wind. Everyone stared. Stunned. Lyra looked at her legs in shock. "I didn't mean to do that." Evan stepped between her and the guards again. It wasn't an attack. It was a defense response. She was scared. The commander clenched his fists. "That is exactly why she must not stand." "The first step forward." Lyra wiped her tears, trembling but determined. "No," she whispered. "I won't go back." She took a breath, shifted her weight, and took her first real step forward. The sound was soft, just a gentle tap of metal against the floor. But to Lyra, it was thunder. It was victory. It was freedom. Her second step followed, then her third. The guards backed away, confused and frightened. "She's walking," one guard whispered. "After 10 years. Evan's voice softened with pride. "That's it, Lyra. One step at a time," the commander growled. "This cannot continue." He slammed his fist onto the control panel on the wall. Suddenly, heavy blast doors began to lower on the hangar, sealing them inside. Lyra gasped. "What is happening?" "They're locking us in," Evan said. "They want to contain your core." The commander pointed at Lyra. "You are to be immobilized. Permanently." Her heart shattered. "All my life, I only wanted to walk. Why is that so wrong?" The commander's voice softened, not with kindness, but fear. "You were born with something our people lost thousands of years ago. A power so old our ancestors feared it. If it awakens fully, it could destroy planets." Lyra shook her head violently. "I don't want power. I just want legs." Evan stepped closer to her. "And she has them now. And she decides how to use them." The stand against fear, the commander raised his weapon. "I will not risk the colony," Lyra gasped. Evan pulled her behind him. Without thinking, Lyra reached out. "Stop." Her robotic legs flared with bright teal light. A shield of shimmering energy burst outward, curved, soft, protective, and wrapped around both of them like a glowing bubble. The commander fired. The shot hit the shield and dissolved like dust. Everyone froze. Lyra stared at the shield around her hands. "I made this?" Evan smiled proudly. "Not to hurt anyone. To protect." Her core wasn't a weapon. It was a guardian. The guards lowered their weapons slowly, whispering among themselves. Fear was fading. Wonder was taking its place. Lyra took another step forward, confident, steady, glowing. The commander stepped back. You cannot control this power." Lyra lifted her chin. "For 10 years you decided for me. Now I decide for myself." Choosing freedom, the blast doors rose again. This time without command. Old machinery flickered with gentle blue light. Systems that had been dead for decades suddenly whirred awake, responding to Lyra's energy. The entire hangar felt alive. Evan put a hand on her shoulder. Your first steps didn't break anything, they fixed things. Lyra breathed a shaky laugh. I didn't destroy the station. No, Evan said softly. You awakened it. The guards exchanged uncertain looks. The commander lowered his weapon slowly, but his eyes were filled with frustration and fear. This isn't over, he muttered. Her core is unpredictable. Lyra squeezed Evan's hand, but her voice was steady. I'm not afraid of my power anymore. She lifted her foot and took her 5th step, then a 6th, then a 7th. And for the first time, the colony watched her walk not with fear, but with awe. The hangar was no longer silent. Old machines hummed with new life. Blue lights flickered awake across the ceiling. Dusty screens glowed for the first time in years, responding to a power they remembered from another age. And in the middle of the awakening stood Lyra, a girl who had not walked for 10 years, now glowing softly with teal light as her robotic legs sensed with her ancient core. But the shock in the room was not from the machines. It was from the people. The guards stared. Evan stood beside her, stunned but proud. And the commander. The commander looked almost afraid of his own memories. He stepped forward slowly, each step heavy. Lyra, he whispered. There is something you must hear. Lyra's breath shook. She had lived her whole life without answers. She wanted them now. Tell me, she said. The commander looked around at the guards, then at Evan. No interruptions, he ordered. This truth belongs to her alone. The forgotten incident. The hangar lights dimmed as the commander spoke. You were only 5 years old when it happened. A storm cycle hit the colony. You were in the main plaza with your parents. It was a normal day until the sky cracked. Cracked? Evan whispered. The commander nodded gravely. Yes, a tear opened. A tear in space itself. Our ancestors called it a star rift. Lyra felt the words sink into her chest. The commander continued. When the rift opened, the energy inside it burst outward. That energy should have incinerated everyone there, but it didn't. He paused, and then the truth dropped like a stone. Because you protected them. Lyra froze. Mummy? Her voice was barely a whisper. The commander nodded. You, a 5-year-old child, raised a shield around the entire plaza. A shield of light. This very same energy we see today. The hangar fell silent again. Lyra trembled. I don't remember that. You were unconscious for days, the commander said. Your parents died in the disaster, but hundreds survived because of you. Lyra's heart twisted painfully. She swallowed hard. But if I saved them, why did you make me unable to walk? The commander closed his eyes. Guilt crept onto his face for the first time. Because when the shield collapsed, your core surged. The surge. The commander pointed at her chest. Your star core released a wave of uncontrolled energy. It destroyed half the central district. We thought you were dead, but somehow, your body pulled the energy back inside. He took a deep breath. But your legs were damaged, not by accident, by the same energy inside you. It wanted to shut your body down so it could sleep. Lyra looked down at her hands, glowing faintly. So my own power hurt me, not intentionally, the commander said. It was trying to protect itself. Your core is ancient. It has instincts, not logic. Evan stepped forward, his brows furrowed. So instead of helping her heal, you froze her muscles? The commander's jaw tightened. We had no choice. There's always a choice, Evan snapped. But the commander shook his head. You were not here. Human. You did not see the destruction she caused when her core awakened. We lost many people. We could not risk it happening again. So we kept her still, kept her quiet, kept her safe. He turned back to Lyra. Immobility was the only way to prevent her core from waking. Lyra's voice trembled. But you never told me. You let me believe I was weak, broken. We believed it was kinder than the truth, the commander whispered, but Lyra shook her head. No, you feared me. That's why you lied. The mechanic speaks. A soft clinking echoed from behind the crates. Old mechanic Kareem stepped forward. Leaning on his metal cane, he bowed his head to Lyra. Child, he said softly, your parents knew what you carried. They knew the risk. But they begged the council not to imprison you. They believed you would grow into your power. The commander looked away, ashamed. We ignored their wishes. Corin sighed. The day we took your movement away. Your mother screamed until her voice broke. Your father tried to fight the guards. He died believing we had stolen your future. Lyra felt the world spin. Tears fell silently down her cheeks. All her life she had believed she was born weak. Born incomplete. Born broken. But she WSN single quotes T. She had been chosen by something older than their civilization. And they were too afraid to let her rise. Evan placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. You didn't break anything, he said quietly. They broke your freedom. Evan Stan, the commander, finally turned to Evan. You are the only one who has ever tried to help her understand her power. Human. But you must also understand this power is not yours to control. Evan stood tall. I don't want to control it. I want her to live. The commander's gaze hardened. And what? If her core awakens again? What if the shield becomes a blast? What if the colony falls? Evan pointed at Lyra's glowing legs. She just walked. The station didn't explode. The hangar didn't fall apart. She controlled it. The commander shook his head. That was only stage 1 awakening. Stage 2 could be catastrophic. Lyra wiped her tears. Maybe I won't reach stage 2. Or, maybe you will, the commander replied coldly. Evan stepped between them. But she deserves the chance to try. The star core awakens again suddenly. Lyra gasped. Her knees buckled. Her robotic legs glowed dangerously bright. Evan, something's happening. Evan caught her as the floor started vibrating. Korin backed away. The guards raised their weapons in panic. The commander's voice shook. It's the core stage. 2. Evan held her tightly. Lyra, breathe. Focus on me. You can control it. But Lyra felt something rising inside her. Something warm, something ancient, something that seemed to whisper her name. A swirl of teal energy formed around her. Feet swirling like mist. Lyra's eyes widened in horror. I'm trying to stop it, but it wants to wake. Evan pressed his forehead to hers. Then don't fight it alone, he whispered. I'm with you, I always will be. And then for the first time since she was 5 years old, Lyra didn't resist her power. She accepted it. A soft explosion of light filled the hangar. Not destructive, not explosive, but soft, warm like a star being born. The ground stopped shaking. The energy calmed. The glowing mist faded. Lyra breathed slowly, her voice filled with awe. I stopped it. Evan smiled through tears. You didn't lose control. You controlled everything. The guards lowered their weapons. Corin wiped his eyes. Even the commander looked shaken, not from fear this time, but from disbelief. She had done something they thought impossible. She had controlled the star core. The new truth. Lyra stood tall, eyes glowing faintly. I'm not a danger, she said. I'm not a curse. I'm not weak. She looked the commander directly in the eyes. I am more than what you feared. Evan stood beside her. And this isn't her past anymore. He smiled proudly. This is her beginning. The hangar was still glowing with the soft teal light of Lyra's awakening. But the chaos was gone. The weapons lowered. The alarms silenced. Even the machines, now alive after years of silence, hummed in peace. Lyra stood in the center, tall, balanced, steady. her robotic legs shining like living metal, her eyes glowing like tiny stars. She was not the girl in the wheelchair anymore. She was something new, something whole. Everyone in the room knew it, but no one dared speak. Evan finally stepped forward. Lyra, how do you feel? Lyra took a slow breath. I feel free. Her voice broke softly. For 10 years, she had dreamed of this. For 10 years, she waited for a moment she thought would never come. Now it was real. The colony watches outside the hangar doors. Colonists gathered, mechanics, workers, children, even the elderly. News had spread quickly. The girl who could not walk is standing. The doors were wide open, and everyone stared in silence. Lyra felt her stomach twist. They're all looking at me, she whispered. Evan squeezed her hand. Let them. They should see who you really are. But Lyra wasn't sure. For years, many of these people avoided her, feared her, whispered about her. Now, their eyes were filled with shock, wonder, and something she had never seen on their faces before: respect. Young alien child stepped forward, trembling. You're walking, the kid whispered. Lyra knelt down slowly, her robotic legs adjusting perfectly. Yes, I am. Was it scary? Lyra smiled gently. More scary to never try. The child's eyes sparkled with awe. Can you show me? And for the first time, Lyra laughed, a soft, shy laugh, the kind she had forgotten she had. Yes, I can show you. She stood up again, holding Evan's hand. Then she took her first public steps. 1, 2, 3. The crowd gasped. But her steps didn't cause destruction. There were no explosions, no rifts, no chaos. Only peace. And each step awakened. Another old machine. Lights flickered on. Screens came alive. Ventilation systems hummed. It wasn't chaos. It was restoration. Her power was healing the colony. The commander's last fear. But the commander wasn't convinced. His eyes followed her every move, his jaw tight, his mind racing. When Lyra walked closer to him, he stepped back slightly. Stop there, he warned. Your core may still activate. Lyra stopped and looked at him calmly. It only activates when I'm scared, she said. Maybe you're the one still afraid. The commander froze. Evan stepped beside her. She doesn't need your permission to live. The commander looked. Between them, you think I hate her? I don't, he muttered. But I fear her. I fear what she carries. I fear losing more people. Lyra nodded gently. Then let me show you, she said softly. She walked closer, slowly, confidently, until she stopped only a few feet away from him. Her legs glowed softly. Her core stayed quiet. No vibration, no energy wave. Just calm. The commander stared at her glowing legs, her steady stance. No destruction, no danger, just a girl who wanted to stand. He whispered, almost in disbelief. You're controlling it. Lyra nodded. Yes, and I will keep learning. Then she said something that broke the last wall inside him. I forgive you. Even if you don't forgive yourself. The commander's eyes widened. His voice cracked. I don't deserve forgiveness. But I deserve a future, Lyra replied softly. And for the first time in 10 years. He nodded slowly, respecting her. Evan's moment. The crowd remained silent as Lyra walked back to Evan. You did it, Evan whispered. No, Lyra said, shaking her head. We did it. Her eyes shimmered with emotion. You believed in me when no one did. Evan's chest tightened. This girl, once forgotten by her own people, now stood like a symbol, not of fear, but of hope. She continued softly. If you hadn't come to this colony, I would still be in my chair. Still thinking I was weak, still thinking I was nothing. Evan placed a hand over hers. You were never nothing, Lyra. You were always powerful. I just reminded you of it. She smiled, small but bright, and the entire colony saw it. The first Lyra turned toward the open hangar floor. "Evan," she whispered, "can I try something? Anything." Her eyes sparkled. "I want to run." Evan hesitated for a moment, but seeing the determination in her eyes, he nodded. "Then run." Lyra took a deep breath. Her robotic legs hummed softly. Her core glowed gently, not wildly, but like a star waking at dawn.